Welcome to the High Fae Housewives podcast. I'm Blakely.
And I'm Kylie.
We are tickled pink to have you attend Rites of the Starling Community College, where we will be deep diving book 2 of Shield of Sparrows series by Devney Perry. Today we'll be chatting about part 2, which is chapters 28 through 38.
This series is going to look a little different than our normal deep dives. During each episode, we will break it down into points of views. Within those points of views, we will discuss our thoughts, theories, and feelings for that timeline before moving on to the next. That way, we are not jumping back and forth between the 2 points of views.
Reminder, this episode will have spoilers for the entire book, not just the chapters we discuss. If you haven't finished the book, go do that and then come back to us.
We have a lot of thoughts and theories that can evolve, change, or be debunked, or just be completely off the rails. Regardless, it's all for fun, and it's not that deep. And warning, while we may be your silly gal pals, we don't recommend listening to this podcast around little ears or ears that may be offended because we say bad words and shitty things. Now relax those shoulders, unclench those jaws, clench that clam, and let's get into it.
Odessa. The Guardians' introductions with the Mavens was awkward, with some seemingly bad blood between Thora and Ransom. Ransom lets Odessa know that is Big Cass' niece. Also, he believes Jody is in love with her. But back to Vale, aka Thora. When Kath found out her niece was a part of the Mavens, she tried to have Lou pay for her freedom. Vale/Thora refused and said she would take nothing from the Turins. Ransom hired a fisherman and crew to sail them to Quintus. The boat ride wasn't an interesting one. Faye's bit Rance, his blood was green, and Jody noticed. They tried to bang it out, but were cock-blocked by Brother Dime because he showed up on a different ship on their tail. That's what she said. Brother Dime made their ship go supersonic mode by using his powers to push them along, but he decided to sleep on their boat, which put Evie in their bed and Brother Dime's magic keeping her on edge the whole journey. But they made it to Quintus. Brother D was like, hey, sorry for leaving you gals. Also, did you learn the old language and did you finish reading the book? Odessa was like, about that book. Some of the stories in it came true and weird, yeah? Brother D told her that it just means she's on the right path. So none of the Quintus guards recognized Odessa, which really didn't help with her forgotten princess wound and will def have to be talked about to her therapist later. She will also chat about her interaction with her dad. Not exactly a warm homecoming. But they were shown to their new digs, and they are all freshened up. The pillow talk was subpar at best. They chatted whose daddy is worse, and then how Ransom is going to Alisaria and not letting Odessa come with. But he did let her come that night, once or twice. The next morning started off with a bite. Evie bit May because she was trying to take Faye's. Odessa forced a hug on May, and then was told by a messenger that she needed to go meet Margot for breakfast right now. At breakfast, Arthur showed up with a bird kite, which was apparently a story in the journal. Weird. The new journal told Des she was being summoned by the king and she must come alone. That's what she said. So the meeting with dear old dad didn't go well. Odessa gave her report and made some demands, including using his healers to fight the infection. She asked if he would ever trust her, and he told her, nay.
Just, no.
No. He's like, no, actually.
This being Odessa's chapter, I am enjoying watching her little family now that they're back together of like Odessa, Evie, and Ransom, and how they're truly like understanding Faze and adopting him in. I know like I can speak for my cats. Like I really know that like what they're saying. I'm 99% sure that I know I do. But I think since they don't see Faze fully as a monster, like but part of their family unit, they really do know what he is saying. Like, after Ransom gave Faze a bath, Faze shook out the water and then bounded straight towards Odessa's legs, rubbing against her bare ankles, making sure he had her attention and that he'd been forced to take a bath against his will. Like, she knew that. I love that they understand him. A monster.
I love their little family dynamic in general, which makes me worry and sad for book 3. Because I don't think it's going to be good for a while there.
I think Devney will put us through some turmoil, but we will be redeemed at the end.
Yeah, we'll have a happy ending. Get it?
No, I want you to explain to everyone what a happy ending is.
So a happy ending is... Speaking of... I'm just kidding. It has nothing to go with it. Odessa is very confused on how these journal entries keep coming true, and Brother Dime tells her that it means she's on the right path. And then bells went off in me. Nope. And then bells went off in my head, and it reminded me of the dedication for Shield of Sparrows. To the characters who came before, to the stories that led us here, to the chances we take, to the dreams we chase. Talking about some fucking shadowing. You're following those visions.
This is twice we've been like minds blown over that one dedication.
So many different times. Is she really just put it all in one thing and shooketh by it?
Read it again.
Yes. To the characters who came before, to the stories that led us here, to the chances we take, to the dreams we chase.
So obviously Caspia came before. The
Mhm.
stories that led us here are the ones that
Visions.
obviously Odessa's on the right path. So what chance is she going to take? Is it going to be the risk of changing? Shifting. Excuse me, shifting.
Shifting. I mean, Caspia probably thought not leaving was a chance and going that way, like staying with the king. And then with Odessa, yeah, I think we have yet to see exactly what chances she'll be taking. I mean, she's obviously made some, even though she had no choice. She had to.
She's going to have to shift and she's going to know it. That's a chance for sure.
She knows it's coming.
Yeah, we just have to break it down. This is explaining all three books right here.
Mm-hmm. We talked about in the last episode that we believe that the divine blesses the Starling with these visions. So that's what Brother Dime. So that's why I think Brother Dime would say that she's on the right path. It got me thinking that at the end of the book, she does have a vision, but it's not the first time. Let's take a look at Dessa's dreams and rites. She dreamed of a grizzer. She watched it tore the flesh from a faceless man's body. The monster devoured, tearing limbs from sockets. A scream ripped through the night. It kept shredding, clawing, but the face on the victim changed to Brielle. She screamed and screamed. The monster became a crux, fur transforming to feathers, not the auburn of the males, but the black of the females. Hey, Emery. Nice to see you. And then when King Cross talks to Odessa, once she finds out she has to marry Xavier and be on her way, he says, "Oh, sorry, Des," and looks at her with gentle eyes, which she says she hadn't seen in a long time, not since she was a child when she would wake up in the middle of the night screaming because she had a nightmare and he would hold her till sunrise. But I remember in our coverage for Shield of Sparrows, we were talking about this and how we were unsure if King Cross was good or bad. We went back and forth multiple times in it, but it was this scene, like when she was talking about having nightmares, like, oh, he obviously cared, like he could have had the nanny do that. But he did this because his girl, Caspia, had him and he knew what it was.
What are your thoughts on the way that King Cross treats Odessa? Once again, it is not confirmed at this point in this book, in part 2, that Andreas is King Cross.
I mean, it's obviously hindsight. We know what happened, so it's different. It does give a little bit, sorry for the Harry Potter reference, when Dumbledore like doesn't speak to fucking Harry to like keep safe situation. We'll talk about it more in part 3 because he explains his answer about it, but it's just like we've seen this before.
The way that he looked at her like longingly, that was the moment like you immediately knew he was protecting her. Like he put the mask on so that way like he could protect her or himself.
So when they first get in the ballroom, King Cross is said to be lonely and kind of sad looking, and he swirls a glass of wine around. When he looks up, he sees Odessa. He smiles, he gets up super fast. He looks like he's going to break into a run. He then blinks again and a wall slammed down between them. Joy gone, smile vanished. Eyes harden. Do you want to know who I think he thought he was drunkenly looking at? Caspia. Odessa normally has brown hair. So this would be the first time he saw his daughter, mid-20s, with red hair, which is about the age Caspia was when he met her. And then when he asked her to meet him after brunch with Margot, he kind of mouths off about Ramsay, and she says, "You don't get to spit his name, not when he has told me all of his secrets and you have yet to share yours." And he looks bewildered, impressed. Who else, in even these chapters, was fucking pissed at him for not sharing things because she was vulnerable? Caspia. This is probably a fucking trip for him, but the parallels between the two.
100%. And he had like a little bit of alcohol in him.
Mm-hmm.
And so immediately he was probably like, oh my God.
Tipsy,
He's like,
or
I die.
did she find a way to come back and like just looks up and it then realizes, oh,
This is that dumb bitch, my daughter.
it's just my dumb daughter. Kind of sad for Odessa.
I know, just to like finally have him look at you like that and then immediately it's gone. I would just feel so discouraged, but then pissed.
And she doesn't know why. Like, it's like, no, he thought you were your mom.
Because when's the last time you saw her natural hair color? I mean, I would avoid her too with that stink, you know?
Right. And like he made the comment about in the first book that she got her red hair from mom, like shouldn't have let Margot dye it, and then comes back and she has red hair.
That red hair, everybody's obsessed with it.
I know.
Her
They love the gene.
dad, Ransom, Jody.
Mm-hmm. Ramsay makes a comment about red hair.
Ramses is the most interesting.
Mm-hmm. With the implication towards Ransom, which we truly know nothing because of these fucking blood oaths, and it's annoying.
I wonder if we'll find a way to break blood oaths in the next. I wonder if the cure for Ransom somehow breaks the blood oaths and then he could just spill all the beans.
If they destroy all the orbits, will that cure Lyssa? Magic in the land?
Does that destroy the magic?
Right?
So many questions on those orbits, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll get to that next part because we don't even know about them yet.
Nope, we don't.
Not in this part. I want to talk about the Mavens a little bit. Specifically Jody. Again, apparently I'm obsessed with him.
I like him, so it's fine.
I'm just going to pretend he's a super hottie, like top tier.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And so he's going to be my new Thotum.
I think, spoilers, I think Jodie's better than Thoughtum as a human. Just the thought. Maybe not.
100% healthier infatuation.
Yes. You're growing. Good for you.
Finally, I'm seeing the light of a not shitty king. Well, he's not a king.
No.
I might be downgrading.
Yeah, maybe.
So Ransom makes this comment about Jody. Trust me, it's a ruse. He is infatuated with you. I should know. We share the same affliction. So Ransom has eyes, so he can see that Jody's into Odessa. But like, what does Ransom know about the Mavens? I feel like he knows more than they're letting on because like they're, legendary.
I definitely think he knows a lot more. I think anything he knows besides Cass' backstory is going to be tainted because where does his loyalty lie? The High Priest. And who seems to be real fucking pissed at the Voster? Thora. And he even tells them never to, like she says, never say their name in front of her. But on top of hating the Voster, she also said she vows not to take anything from Tura. Just why the bad blood?
Thora is so interesting. She seems to get in trouble with a lot of people. Like she's not cool with the Voster, not cool with the Guardian, not cool with Salem. Like what had Thora done to become indebted to Salem and earn so many stars tattooed on the face? Like, what did she do? Like, I'm obsessed with Salem, and who is this guy? He has mercenaries working for him. He's terrifying. We know Matthias owed him 1,000 Zillas, and so Matthias got a star on his face. Jody has 3. Thora has 5. Once again, what did you do, girlfriend? Are stars representation of a dollar amount or favors that he's done for you? Once again, who's Thora? Odessa thinks Thora's colorless hair caught my eye. Does it mean more? I mean, probably not, but just that line is weird to me.
I see that. I can see it for sure. And Thora is crying, obviously, because her friend's death, but she tells Odessa after Odessa tries apologizing to her that it's her burden to bear. And I just wonder if she takes personal responsibility for her group of mavens, like, and that's why her debt is so large. Like, if they screw up, does she have to get another one and owe more?
That's a good point. Like, does she take on their debt if they go tits up? And is that why she has that many stars thanks to Salem? Or does Salem know something about her and her familiar line? And that's why he keeps her under his fucking thumb for as long as he can. Because once again, suspicious of their bloodline.
Mm-hmm. In part one, it's mentioned that Salem has a black heart. He's going to kill a gal, that he got knocked up. He manipulates them all to stay in line. He's very greedy. But something that I find a little interesting is the meaning of the name Salem. In Hebrew, it means shalom, meaning peace, completeness, wholeness. And I just find that a weird name for a villain.
Weird choices.
Weird choices. But I'm going to go back a little bit to us talking about Jody. Do you think he's going to have a bigger part in book 3? Or do you think he's just a little side character for
I
now?
think he'll have a bigger part because one, he made it through the Mavens and didn't die. We've already
Mhm.
lost a Maven, so there's obviously relevance. And then the Guardian, and aka Ransom. I don't know why I'm calling him the Guardian. The way that Ransom is pointing out that like he's obsessed with Odessa, like I just think that that's alluding to a bigger part.
Well, I think we we can Rance actually listen mind to mind. Like, can he read minds? I think so. I saw something when reading Shield of Sparrows. They were having a sex scene, and Odessa was thinking in her head, "Is this real? Is this real?" And then he responds, "This is real." And it isn't like, "Oh, did I say that out loud?" Like in a different book we know of. It was he just knew, but they just don't acknowledge it. And I really think that he can read minds, not just with Odessa, because of his language.
We talked about it because, we know he's got great hearing, based on 100% he told us. And he had heard Odessa and her father, we think. He talked about his good hearing, but it really could have been he read their minds. He could read Odessa's mind. Because once again, we've talked about it multiple times. Is it intentions can he read or can he like hear the thoughts? And I
Well, and
do think
remember,
he's got more powers than he lets on.
I think so too. And like when even when they first meet and they're in that room and he's like laughing at all the things that she's saying when Odessa's like, I want to kill him and stuff like there was no, even if it's showing on her face, which she seems the type of person that you could probably read everything on her face because she's expressive. I think he definitely can read intentions or maybe just thoughts. I don't know, but he can read them.
He keeps a lot of secrets. I mean, he held back the fact that there hasn't been any other crux till like the end of this. Like, there's more truth to that, and he's got to check into it. Like he holds on through a lot, and I don't think everything is through a blood oath. I think he trusts Odessa, but also doesn't because he can't. Once again, there's more to him.
I think that loyalty towards the high priest really clouds a lot of his things. But when it comes to like him thinking about Jody and like the jealousy that he really seems to have, he doesn't realize that, or maybe he does. Doesn't seem to be that it doesn't matter because her heart does belong to Ransom. And what we learn about Starling is they love for life. She'll be forever devoted to Rance. So any book 3 love triangles that you gals are hoping for, I don't see it happening.
I never wanted a love triangle for a moment. I thought there could be like,
Yeah, something.
but then Ransom showed back up.
What about May?
Ooh.
May and Jody.
Oh, he's gonna go for the sister.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And,
I would be into that.
and that would piss Ransom off. Like, I'm stuck with this fucker.
What if we get a May point of view? I mean, I hope we do.
I think we do kind of well, yeah, it's a part 3, but like it feels like we might. I think that will take Caspia's portion.
If we know that there is a scent mentioned between May and Jody, then it's happening, obviously, because if there's a scent, I'm going to talk about it.
You love a scent.
I do. Odessa talks about scents with Ransom and it's not for mates, guys. For once, I'm not talking about it. She says, with one inhale, it was wind and leather. The next, a masculine citrus spice that mingled with the salt breeze. It was chaotic and ever changing like his eyes, but beneath it, all was Ransom, and I'd recognize it anywhere. Do you think it's because he's got that dog in him? Like she can smell the scent of the monster in him, but it smells good to her because she's got that dog in her too.
You got that dog.
The I'd recognize it anywhere is just really sticking with me as potential foreshadowing. Like he is driving a lot of stuff home. Like there's his scent. Every time she's like, I love you, he's like, don't forget it. And we know it takes him a while to say it back, but I think he is like trying to burn it into her brain for a later moment.
Whether it's for him because he's losing control. I mean, he doesn't, as of right now, we don't think he knows her being Starling or that line, but regardless, she's going to need to remember it if she does turn Starling or like turn into a Swift, not turn Starling. She is Starling. Like she needs to remember it, but I think you're totally onto it with that, like the sense and that she needs to remember because she'll need it in the beginning of part 3 or the book 3, in my opinion.
He does everything for a reason, even giving her the cuff. Once again, how does he have that foresight? There's more to him. That's why he's got 2 cents. I do want to point out a very important fact about Lyssa. It does not affect semen color. Odessa says, I was still reeling with the aftershocks of my orgasm as he pulled away and came all over my nipples, his release hot and sticky and so erotic I liquefied. If it was not a normal color or green, I think she would have shared with the class. For those who were concerned, it has to be a thought for someone.
Do you know what I just fucking in my head? We know the things that I imagine usually don't make any sense. I just fucking pictured Nickelodeon's line on her tits. Like that is what the
Lyssa
semen.
doesn't affect it though. But
I
no,
know, but it did. That's what it looked like. She got slimed.
that
Every
is
90 kid's
awful.
dream.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
To just have slime dumped all over me. Yes.
I've never been slimed, but I did get the pie face at Universal Studios.
I didn't either. Never went to Universal when I was younger. Poor, remember?
So were we. They just spent it stupidly. But speaking of Lyssa, I have thoughts. Odessa is watching Rance and his eyes are silver the entire time that Brother Dive is on board, and she says there is barely a contained fury simmering beneath the skin. In Greek mythology, Lyssa is a minor goddess personifying mad rage and fury in animals, emphasis on the fury. But like we mentioned, Rance is clearly not the first to have this. He has green blood, yes, but so do the Starling. So that got me thinking about Lyssa in general. So Lyssa appears in several key myths. I don't know how to read these words, but I'm going to try. In Euripides, Hera sends Iris to summon Lyssa to drive Hera mad. Lyssa protests, saying she does not take joy in harming friends, but ultimately complies. Her madness causes Hera to kill his wife, Megara, and children, only to be stopped by Athena. Was the corrupted magic sent to specifically go after the Starling and the Swift? Did the high priest infect them when they got there? Like,
You saying that Lyssa's a god and, Ransom with his eyes being silver. I keep saying there's more to Ransom. You and I both don't trust God's stories on Odessa's side or Caspia's. Like anything that we hear. What if there's something Ransom hates the gods? What if there is more to him with like a god not, I hate saying God touched because we've used that so many times, but what if it is like something in that realm?
Right, in his lineage, something there.
Because why do his eyes swirl silver? Even, you know, not to bounce back and forth between like Caspia, but Xander's eyes were the milky white color, the white of that disease. Why are his silver specifically?
Yeah. It's odd. Another story in mythology, I just actually brought this up in our Susie coverage like 2 episodes ago, but when Artemis turns Actaeon in a stag, Lyssa is said to have infected his hounds with rabies, leading them to tear him apart, which makes sense because the Crux seem to want to tear Odessa apart and go after her. Like there's something turning, like turning on each other almost.
What if it's Odessa and Rogue? Don't necessarily believe it. It's Odessa and Ransom, and they're like God touched by Amma and Oda. They're reincarnated, reunited, and then they cure
Mhm.
Lyssa. The end.
Or I don't remember his name. I specifically didn't really go into it because it's part 3. We know the divine, right? They say that there's one God, but there was another God that the Voster said that they used to believe in, but quit believing in because he like let them basically die to the Beason's King. So what if that is where Ransom is touched by that God almost, and then we have Odessa with the divine because she's Starling.
Because, like, what if Ransom's not meant to be there? Just the way that, Caspia and Xandra technically weren't, and how the land affected them differently. It's affecting Ransom differently.
Yeah.
Good point.
But Lyssa virus is in fact a real thing. It is usually can be contracted by bites or scratches. There's no cure in real world for it, but the symptoms include headaches, fever, fatigue, and delirium. Speaking of headaches, something that I notice is both Caspia and Odessa get headaches frequently. 8 times in this book alone, 3 times in Rites. And I definitely think it's a symptom before one's ritus comes on top, or one has to shift on top of Calandra making them sick because they're not supposed to be there.
I wonder if Caspia and Odessa both like will it to prolong their shifting.
Yeah. Not yet. I mean, Caspia says that how many times? Like, please, divine, give me more time.
So, what is it about their bloodline that makes them special? Again,
Yeah, because they are different. It's at the end where she's more like a different Swift. Like, there's a lot. I guess that's a part 3 question.
especially with like the Voster saying like Odessa is like on the right path. Like, why do you know she has a path to go on?
Exactly. One other thing. When Ransom and Des are speaking about whose dad is worse, Rance is like, mine, no question. And then Des thinks about how he's infecting men who have been recruited to his militia with Lyssa, or a version of it, to recreate the Guardian so they could have a fighting chance against the migration. But this poor Melissa, if you will, is burning these poor men from the inside out. And it got my brain thinking about the story about the woman with the snake. Once the woman deemed the fire hot enough, she'd throw the snake's body at the edge of the blaze, and after it was charred black, she'd take the blistered, charred skin and apply it to the bite with both hands. She tossed the snake's blood into the base of the fire. So if they take those infected with Lyssa, maybe I don't want the Melissa men because they're humans. Like, let's just take an animal. Um, like a dead bear wolf or something that was Lyssa infected. Could you apply it to a bite or a cut? Or like an open sore or something and after they've been burned?
We need to call that doctor right now.
Right.
Right now.
Right now. Just a little rogue, but like why does it have to get super hot? And it's burning them alive.
Do you have to burn something specific for that?
Right. Like if someone that's or like something that's infected by Lyssa, if you burn it and then use that Lyssa as an antidote and like inject it in there, will that cure it?
We're women in STEM. Let's test this out.
Yeah, we'll get on that. We'll go back in the lab, guys. BRB.
We had a story that Odessa read that came true, which brings the total to 6. There was 5 in part 1, and the story Odessa read to Evie was a boy with light hair holds tight to a roll of string that stretches into the sky. At the other end is a paper bird with orange feathers and a long tail of blue, green, red, and yellow. He laughs as he releases more string, letting the bird fly higher. The trees around him do not rustle or shake. The grass blades at his ankles are still and straight. Oh, it's a rhyme. The wind blows only for his colorful bird. He lets out the rest of the line, and then when he reaches the end, he blows a kiss to the bird and sets it free. It soars, disappearing from sight. The boy is sad for only a moment, and then he gets a puppy, and he names it, Titus. I can't say it in the Voster. I
No,
learned double talk, not pig Latin. Not similar to this at all.
you're not. Yeah, you're bilingual, but not with this.
No. What happened in real life was Evie pointed out that she saw a bird that was a kite when Odessa was looking at her brother outside. Arthur lifted the kite in one hand as he held tight to its string in the other. Then he took off running, giving the kite a swift throw in the air, high enough that Brother Dime's magical wind lifted it into the sky. The bird flew higher as Arthur laughed, letting out more string, and then Odessa and Evie knew immediately when they saw the dog its name was Titus. Shocked that there was only one story that came true, but they were busy.
They were busy gals. They're
Busy gals. Yeah. Ransom, busy gal.
busy gal. That rants.
They're the BGs, the busy gals. Is their traveling name.
They're trying.
Caspia. Caspia was surprised that her bird bro back home, Biston, was painted so negatively. She realized the Swifts are not homies here. They are haters. Time to call them what they are, kooky crux. Caspia wants answers, so they go to the library. Andreas knows some people who know some people, so he can get them into the exclusive club, aka the Castle Library. The bibliosaph, Faxon, taught Andreas he's going to take on Koss as his student and help find what he can about Caspia's people, but keep it on the DL. Andreas gives some family deets about his brother and how they were super close until he died. We learn his mother's family was killed, and that on the way to the funeral, his brother's horse got spooked and dragged him. He survived but got a permanent owie, got addicted to their version of opiates. His parents didn't make him go to rehab. Oh, no, no, no. And then he got fucked up and fell down some stairs and died. His dad lied about why, saying his cane broke and it wasn't the drugs, and so Andreas left, and that's how he ended up at the cabin in Genesis. Andreas is like, it was all worth it to find you. And then Caspia felt that thrum again. And that, kids, is the story of How I Met Your Mother.
Excellent. Truly excellent.
Caspia's thrum was nature's Ozempic because girlfriend lost her appetite the day that Koss started lessons. They got a nanny for Koss who had no idea his age. Caspia didn't cook, she didn't clean, but we were going to continue to learn how she got that ring. She saw a ship from a vision and decided to go check it out. She finds the captain, asks some questions, but then turns around. I need to point out that the captain said the longest he has sailed was 2 months, 9 days, and that was not long enough. They were on the ship from Nelthenix a long fucking time if over 2 months was not long enough. And it really puts into perspective the whole asking for one more day and the captain was pissed off. That also explains the power of Xandra's vagina and potentially Whispering Eye. They seem like the variety is the spice of life type.
I think you're right about that. Definitely variety, those guys. Those dirty pirates. They're into it.
They're on a boat. What else are you going to do?
I'm on a boat.
I know, as soon as I said it.
When reading that, I was like, nuh-uh, I didn't realize they sailed that long at all. Like, I don't feel like it makes it seem that way when you're reading your chapters.
Yeah, it just seems like they were out on the sea for a week. It's fine.
I thought it was like which it doesn't make sense. I was thinking in my head in the beginning of Rites, or not Rites, sorry. I was thinking in the beginning of Shield when Odessa, it was like 2 weeks. But that was literally what my head was. But that's just going against the Meraxamore. So I was an idiot.
They were just sailing across like an inlet.
Right.
And that was 2 weeks. So yeah, like it makes sense that it took that long. But really having that number when she asked, putting it in perspective, I was like, damn, that's a long time.
That's a long fucking time.
Caspia gets bumped into by a paperman that has terrible news on the front that Andreas is betrothed. When she finally gets back home, she exchanged words with Andreas when he drew her a bath for her fucked up feet. He's like, NBD, baby, I don't love her. But Caspia is pissed he did not tell her. They bang out their feelings. Caspia, upon his entry, starts imitating seagulls. Mine, mine, mine. They both finish, good for them, and spend that night together. Caspia's head was hurting like her achy breaky heart, so she avoided Andreas and searched for any nuggets she could find in the library. She got a tingle and then saw another vision come true. And then she had a weird itch again, but it was thanks to Brother Noel. That son of a gun has magic, and he is a Velvios Telfer who were all but a myth in Ken. They're rumored to have a face only a mother could love. Caspia then toppled over from the pain. Both Andreas and Brother Noel reached out to grab her, but the priest got there first, then passed out when the priest touched her. Terrible way to end that paragraph. My bad.
Truly.
The Voster's magic hurts Caspia real bad. She was shook to see a Voster. She gives Andreas the hot goss on them from the Nelphenix. She works through the pain to talk to the Voster because in Ken, they do not have powers. They talk in a part of the library that amplifies their voices from far away, where immediately Nolt is a homie for apologizing for his magic. He knows her Rites called her there and tells her that she will end up shifting and that her Rites is likely the whole reason she found the island. We get some Voster history, which we'll go over in a moment, and he gives Caspia hope since 1 out of 3 Starling that helped him escape survived and flew off from Calandra. He can only answer so much, but does tell her to leave Calandra before it's too late. Then Caspia has a vision about killing Andreas in the middle of the night. Andreas gets up with her and tells her that the ship she sees is named after his mother, and of course, it can take her home. Her thrum had stopped. She was realizing this was not the move. Andreas, knight in shining fucking armor, shows up at the dock with 5 ropes left to untie, asking her to stay with him. She tells him until the divine calls her home. It was a romantic ass way to end part 1.
Truly.
Once again, that's kind of why, like, I want more of their story. Like, he went to go save the day. He stopped her boat in the nick of time, even though she realized, like, bad move. Her thrum stopped.
Her thumb did. Sorry. Her thumb stopped. Just
so casually.
Her thumb stopped, you know? No, I like their love story so much and I want more.
Yeah, like, I bet you they had fun. They had fun.
Truly.
I want to talk about the Voster because we learn so much about them here. Some things we knew, some things we didn't. Their government name is the Velvios Telfer. It's one big word that I can say.
I was going to say, I'm actually so impressed you can pronounce it. Wow.
I slipped that in those recaps so easily. That's what she said.
Like, you were confident about it, too. It wasn't like, I know this, like you. I was like, yeah, sold. I'm not going to say it the rest of the series because I can't. So that's great.
It's going to be Voster from here on out, but like that is their government name. We learned it.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this point, once again, we don't know that that Caspia is Odessa's mother, but we learn that Caspia has the exact same reaction to the Voster as Odessa. They say that the priests have fluid magic and that they can manipulate water, wind, and blood, which we knew, but like it's confirmed again here. And I just really want to point out that I hate the term fluid magic. Like, I think of magical semen every fucking time.
I just want to know that you have brought up semen not once but twice in a matter in this episode of 10 minutes.
I really want Andreas and Caspia to bang it out more. I want everybody to bang it out more. More banging. Is that too much to ask?
Bang bros, for sure.
No, I'm not going to go watch porn.
Voster porn. You might be into it.
Yuck. Those
you don't
nails?
like those? You don't like it? All right.
Don't wiggle your fingers at me. Stop. I'm going to get into the Voster lore. Speaking of magical fingers.
Okay.
So the Voster lore, they're basically myths because they're so elusive. We learn that the war started over 400 summers ago, aka 400 years ago, but it just sounds so much cooler as 400 summers.
It does.
And lasted generations. They lived in a country that bordered Bisa, the 5th country in Ken, a country that no longer existed. The Bisons had invaded and waged a war against the Voster, persecuting them for their religion. After 100 summers of fighting, the Beesons were victorious, and the Voster had been slaughtered, their homeland stolen. Those who survived had fled into hiding. Most lived deep into the wilderness, though the Beesons still hunted their people. They're nomads, but mostly live in hiding. We do get an explanation that their beliefs didn't align with one of the Beeson kings, and for that, he decided that they were an abomination. Caspia thinks that they're power-hungry tyrant who saw an opportunity to expand his country, and his descendants are ruthless. And the Voster in Calandra escaped the war thanks to 3 of Caspia's ancestors. And that's interesting to me. Because of their journey with those 3 Starling, does that connect them in a way to the Voster? Like, how did the Voster know that the Rites called her there and that she for sure will shift? She will for sure shift. It seems like they're connected.
Yes, I definitely think they're connected.
So, Brother Noel told us the full story of his journey with those Starling. She was an old and powerful Starling, because they're all female, yet even she could not shift back to her human form. She killed for months. Every human she encountered was sent to the Shades. We do not know that she returned to Nelphenix. We only gave thanks when she was gone. And then Caspia thought she must have returned to Nelphenix. She must have found a way home. And she was likely the reason it was forbidden for Starling to come to Calandra, because hundreds of summers ago, a Starling came to this continent and became a monster, a crux. And I'm just curious if that was the trip that weakened the Starling bloodline.
I believe so. It also makes you wonder. Well, I have like questions about what's a normal lifespan for a starling? Like, what is it? Like, this makes it seem it's not a regular amount. Like, it seemed like a long time. And then just the fact that this starling sailed across the horizons and brought over the Voster. Is this when she brought the other animals at the same time? Is this Sora's journey and bringing them over? Powerful, like, and the one that sent her was the god that was more powerful than anyone, right? So what if the god sent Sora with the Vibros and all these animals, like almost like a Noah's Ark situation, brings them over, and then it screws her over because she can't shift back.
Some people believe that is where our monsters came from, not the new gods, but a god we've never known, a god more powerful than any other. It always made me wonder what other stories are out there, what if some are true. And then in Rites, Sora was a woman who sailed across the realm. She was gone for 100 years, and when she returned, she brought her creatures. The monsters were created by a powerful god, a god we don't know. Is that the divine, or is that an extra guy?
I think it's the other one. I think it's the other one, and I think she also brought the Voster at that same.
Because if she because that could have been one of the monsters.
Mm-hmm. Or it just lost in translation of how that would. I mean, so much of this history is wrong. Like that Sora story, it doesn't mean it's 100% accurate.
Right. So the Swifts are territorial birds with a deep connection to the Starling, more so than any other creature on Nelphenix. Something about that journey to bring the Voster to Calandra must have changed their migration pattern. Caspia's ancestors had led them to a new breeding ground. And I just wonder if the Starling actually had some sort of connection, like I said, with the OG Voster. Like, why choose to help that Voster leave the land? What if the Starling left the land to hide something and it's tied to the hidden balls of Calandra? I don't know why I call them hidden balls.
You just love balls and semen this episode.
I am so sorry, guys. But I feel like, what if it was like a connection to the Voster and like maybe they're hiding something together. They know something about the gods that we don't, and they're hidden in the balls.
Oh, wait, yeah. Well, we know it's the ball. Yeah, maybe.
What if they're trying to weaken the Starling line? Like somebody knew something and they're like hiding it. And that's what's partially in those, what are they called again? I'm totally blanking that. Orbs, glass orbs.
Well, yeah. So, what is it that started weakening the line and so drastically?
And those events seem to go hand in hand with the weakening. Was that on O? The one that went?
Yeah,
Was it her mother?
was Aunt Osora.
Was Aunt O's mother Sora?
Or, I mean, because just we don't know how age works with Starling really. It's so, or was that actually Caspia's mom? That we don't have. We actually, okay, so I screwed up last episode. I said that it was Ophelia. Ophelia is her aunt. I still stand by, I think that Caspia's mom could have been the one that wrote the visions of Sonnets 90. But why aren't they giving us Caspia's mom's name? Is it because it's Sora? She all of a sudden left her babies, right? Just randomly left.
I feel like it's probably Aunt O's mother or
Yeah,
yeah,
that
just based
yeah,
on,
the
400
time frame.
summers. The
Yeah, I was thinking time frame. Yeah, so maybe it is Aunt O's mother because we didn't know so little.
because like how long has Aunt O been in reign? We don't know. Has she been around a while? Oh, she has been around a while, but like how long?
Yeah, we know old, and we know Aunt O is powerful. So you're gonna assume that her mother was probably powerful, but she couldn't ship back. And is that how Aunt O became queen?
Ooh, maybe. Maybe Aunt O had a vision,
Well, I think they all have visions for sure.
but I think yeah, maybe she had a
You
vision.
know, I did.
Like
Yeah,
yeah,
I was like. I think that's a part of Starling. I sorry, I wasn't meaning like that. But like I think for sure, yeah.
Caspia did have 3 visions in part 2 of the book, and so let's talk about the ones that came true. And to keep a tab, we were at 4 that came true in part 1. Caspia's vision was there was a boy sitting on the floor. He had silky black hair and eyes so dark they shone blue. All around him were books. He picked one up and tossed it in the air, but the book didn't fall. It floated higher and higher. What happened in real life? Koss sat on the floor, surrounded by a pile of books. His legs were crossed and his smile wide as he picked up a book and tossed it in the air, only for it to float on an invisible wind to the librarian's waiting hands. That was the only one that came true in part 2, but we're up to 5. And she's noticing.
And while one hasn't explicitly come true, we can make some educated guesses about it. A woman stands at the wash basin, her forehead dewy with sweat. She rinses a green liquid from her hands, the color so dark it's nearly black. A younger woman with yellow hair rushes for the basin, dunking her hands in the dirty water. Hallie, the blood. Quiet girl, Hallie hisses. Remember the agreement. The blonde woman nods, staring at the murky water. Hallie finishes washing and dries her hand, then rushes out of the room. What kind of monster is this? The young woman whispers. Then she gets to work cleaning her hands. Now, Hallie ends up being Caspia's midwife and Odessa and her siblings' nursemaid. My guess is in this moment, it would have been when Caspia gives birth to Odessa. And when she refers to the agreement, it's like, shut the fuck up about what you're seeing regarding the queen. And it is somewhat confirmed later in the book with them saying was paid a hefty sum to assist me and keep her mouth shut about the green blood. And that blonde woman in the vision, Margot.
Why don't they use blood oaths? Why is it only Tura that uses blood oaths?
Excellent point.
Because
Because
I
they
feel like
don't,
that would have solved like having to say, remember, like you have a blood oath.
I think it probably, they don't, I don't think King Cross trusts the Voster for the most part and doesn't want to be more magic tied with them.
Which we know blood oaths. We can't get into it till next part when they mention it, but yeah, the blood oaths have magic. So I wonder if that's why he avoids them at all costs, because you could literally solve that.
And
But
like he's really, yeah.
I wonder what the magic in blood oaths does.
Oh, wow.
We'll get into it. And Caspia has her thrum. It's almost like it's a thrum of approval every time she goes in the right direction. She said there was a part I leaned into his touch, and for a heartbeat, everything in my life made sense. I was always here in Calandra for Andreas, but then the next heartbeat came, and my world pitched sideways. A thrum vibrated through my body, spreading from my heart to my hands and my feet. A thrum I hadn't felt since Serena, the thrum of the Rites. And then again, I spent the moon staring across the Roslo towards a ship with white sails. I spent the moon listening to the thrum in my chest. I spent the moon fighting it with every beat. Fucking Andreas was definitely the right thing to do. That's when she was
Yeah.
feeling that thrum. And then losing Andreas was inevitable. I realized that now we were destined to end. A thrum pulsed through my veins. It is just not in the way that she thinks. But when she saw the ship from her vision, though, the thrum that pulsed through my veins made me want to vomit because it's not the right time. And maybe that's why it made her want to vomit this specific time. Then, when she was getting ready to leave, ropes and tying, the thrum was gone. It was the thrum of disapproval because it didn't exist.
It Well, there's a couple different times that just with her, like, kind of wanting to vomit, nauseous, that happens with Odessa a lot too in book 1, feeling nauseous, and Odessa's like us, she can't read and be on a car or a horse, she gets motion sickness, so I get that, that's not thrum related, but we made the point that, like, with the thrum, Odessa does have it, but she just uses the word hunches. I don't think she realizes that urge that she had is actually just innately in her because she's Starling, because she doesn't know.
A hunch, a thrum, a Peter tingle, whatever you want to call it.
You know, you can rebrand.
I want to share my favorite similarity between Caspia and Odessa. It's their love for questions. I think her brain like rivals mine for questions, possibly. Actually, Blakely, who do you think asks more questions, me or the cross gals?
You vocalize your questions. For me, because I'm your journal,
I always say
uh,
dear diary.
your dear diary, the girls mostly just think them in their head. You're a vocal questions gal.
That's what you think. Think about the ones I don't ask out loud. There's a lot.
So the answer is you.
Oh, okay. They ask a lot though. She was asking
They
some
do.
of the questions that I had, like why, like was her ritus a different call? And if she is supposed to return home, what her visions meant, and why did they shift to her and her future? What she thinks is only seeing the past, like silly goose, it's not the past.
I don't know. You may be a cross. I mean, their mothers seem to abandon them just like yours did.
Maybe that's why I really like resonate with this story. Like,
Uh,
yes, Odessa. Yes, Caspia. She did have this batch of questions too. Was the violence and bloodlust a part of that process, or was there something about Calandra that made them different? Had it made Xandra's transformation different? Was it the reason it was forbidden to follow the Crux when they migrated because of the horrors they became? Not horrors, the horrors. Or because our ancestors had known that we'd become as monstrous as the beasts themselves. Once again, Ransom's not patient zero. Xandra is not patient zero either because Brother Noel tells us the land claimed two and one flew off as a swift. And, there's still no confirmation that this is in the past yet. Like, they're not interacting with anybody that Odessa would have. No confirmation. So we can't tell who patient zero is.
Do you think that Odessa next book will have to go to Nelphinex?
Yes. We have
And
to revisit. Give me a damn map.
and do you think that she will be with Biston and they'll go back? Because
Oh,
he's up there.
or will she? What if she shifts? Or what if she gives up
Well,
the
no, I think
ability?
she
What if
would.
she gives up the ability to shift after like all of that? Can't do it anymore.
Like maybe she gets out of Calandra before the magic's corrupted in her as a Swift. She's able to go shift, or like she shifts and leaves right away, goes and gets, she's able, maybe her thrum will take her there, and then they all come back and try to fight. Like, I don't know, something. They're going to come back.
Biston's for sure gonna come back.
So Cassidy shook it in the beginning of part 2 because there is a mural of Biston in the castle at Roswell. His auburn feathers, which throw back to book 1, when Odessa is roaming the Crux halls, she stares at the auburn crux. So we now know his name, Biston. Etymology-wise, Biston in German means to call out or to make a sound, and I can't help but think that the grumpy bird is going to make that comeback. Now, it really makes you wonder on his temperament. Was he always an asshole, or did his time on Calandra make him one? Because they all get angry. So was that the case? I just feel like these Swifts need a rebrand. Maybe start calling yourself Swifties because people are scared to go after Swifties.
It's their best bet. Their safest rebrand that they could do.
I mean, it is trademark though, so Taylor might come after you. One of the questions that Caspia has for Aunt O is there a way to stop the crux? Was it possible to change the migration so they breed elsewhere? And that's Caspia's question. But bringing it back to what we were just talking about, maybe Aunt O's still alive over there. And Odessa will have to go back with Aunt O and she might know the answers.
And I was definitely still alive because Emery,
Mm.
there's that vision about Emery like
But
coming back
yeah,
after. So
maybe Aunt O knows a lot more than she's saying.
Aunt
With
O
her
definitely
vision,
does.
I do believe that she's going to have to go back to Nelphinex. Aunt O's going to be a part of it. I think Biston's going to be a part. We had Jody and May,
Lyssa.
Lyssa, and then yeah, being God touched of some sort or the cure to Lyssa. I love that we have a throwback to that frickin' dedication that made us spiral in book one coverage. Next episode is going to be pretty jam packed. Part three, closing out that book.
Can't wait.
So thanks for giggling with us today. We have new episodes every Sunday, and join us next week as we get into part three, chapters 39 through 64.
Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give us a review wherever you listen. Make sure you're following us on social media for all of our latest updates, which include theories and more new book goofing. All links are in our info, you giggling gal pals. We will see you next week.